This is DawgNation's Countdown to Signing Day, brought to you by Kroger.
It's like an instant serotonin boost.
It sounds very presidential, like an inauguration, doesn't it?
It does. All right, I think we should just go ahead and get into it. We're going to be doing this the next 3 weeks until signing day comes around, and of course we'll do a signing day special. But the topic of this week's Countdown to Signing Day is what questions remain in the class of 2026, not just players they can acquire or who they need to protect, but some big picture stuff as well. So we're going to get to all of that, starting with flip worries. Most of the offensive side of the ball for 2026 locked down. Good. I believe that Jay Lamar is the only one who hasn't locked down his recruitment, but there are maybe some guys on the defense that could potentially be swayed. I think of guys like Justice Fitzpatrick or a PJ Dean who have not locked down their recruitments. You can go ahead and maybe prove me wrong here, but is there anybody that we should be genuinely concerned about, maybe somebody coming in last minute and swooping them from under the rug?
Yeah, I think first of all we have to put in a disclaimer here. We do not feel Jared Curtis will flip to the Vanderbilt Commodores. Yeah. If you've seen some of our reporting recently, I spoke to the agent and representation. There's not even a official monetary NIL offer on the table yet. So that really says a lot right there, especially because how much Jared and his family really love Georgia. They want to center the next 3 falls of their lives around Athens. I don't know if really the things left for Georgia include the word flip. Like, there's going to be some talk, will Georgia make a final run at Tyler Atkinson? Will the price tag go up? Will Georgia find more incentives for Tyler? I don't really see that happening, but I never say never. You've got, some late action at certain position groups that I think are really thin, but I don't even really see Georgia going after. I don't see them going after a big name running back late in the class, even though they've only got one, because I think that would get very expensive, Kaylee. And I think some guys like Amari Latimer, we saw Fatboy Wiggins, Quantavious Wiggins, just flip from Florida International to Wisconsin this week. So you've got I don't know if there's a lot of intrigue here. Like I've kind of maintained, Kaylee, this class, the bed was mostly made, and all you're doing was putting pillows on it. In the bedroom, only putting a million pillows on it by like July. It was already mostly figured out. So I think most, by and large, there's not a lot. There's an offensive lineman that they might grab that's currently uncommitted. They might, this seems really interesting right now, this Blake Stewart stuff late, because he's talented enough to play and play quickly at Georgia as well. And he just recently decommitted from Clemson, and it feels like Georgia would have to fight Miami for that guy.
Yeah, and then there are some off-the-field incidents that seem like we don't really know the status of that is, when it comes to guys like Seven Cloud or a Chase Calicut, and even potentially someone like Jay Lamar who is back with the team but still could be of concern. Is this one of those things where we're going to know something about these guys by signing day, or is it just a matter of it fizzling out?
I think it's going to be inertia, and what I mean by that is, first of all, Georgia doesn't, they don't encourage a kid to, hey, there's no public stance about, hey, I need to decommit from Georgia or whatever, especially with these off the field situations that won't be resolved by December the 3rd. I think what it's going to be, and what I mean by inertia, is they're just going to get the picture that they weren't sent a scholarship offer and they're not hearing from Georgia. In the case of Seven Cloud, man, that is a tough story. I mean, he's not even played at all this year for his junior college team at all, not produced any stats. So he's still not even playing football, which was a really big positive in his life. And then you've got, Chase Calicut with these charges. And I know people close to that situation tell me that Chase is going to find a way to play for Georgia one day. But, that's something that I just don't see happening right now. And we've never really had to do this. I think Jay Lamar has kind of gotten back on solid ground because he's still a member of his high school football team. And, when you don't finish this season on your high school football team, Kaylee, that's kind of like the base level for being a college football player. Like you fail high school football when you don't finish the year with your high school team for whatever reason. So, I think Jay Lamar is good. He's kind of playing in a limited role for Colquitt, but he's working his way back on the team. So with a lot of these guys, I mean, unfortunately, you're just going to see them not sign with Georgia. And then do they sign anywhere else? Do they wait? Do they wonder? I think that's the things to watch. But we've never really had to look at the class and say, okay, that guy's a really good football player. He's good enough to play at Georgia, but this off-the-field stuff has put in a dark cloud over his future.
Well, as you mentioned, for the most part, over the last few months, this class has pretty much been set in stone, and I feel like it's been like that for a lot of other college football programs. So, I mean, at this point, are there any big players left, maybe guys where they committed to a program that no longer has a coach and are maybe still up for grabs, like any big rocks or big players left at this point in the class?
Well, a lot of them, what makes it different now, Kaylee, is that it's not just a feeling. It's not just a gut, because a lot of these guys have already kind of locked in and claimed their spot in some places with some NIL already before the deadline that came over the summer. So, like, Elijah Littlejohn is a name. You're going to see a lot of maybe the potential traction for Georgia around guys where the head coach is no longer there, has been displaced. And Kaylee, let's not forget this, how it may get crazy the last couple of weeks in November and then the first week of December is, Kaylee, when all these jobs get filled, they usually get filled by current standing head coaches. So that means, wherever, who's the new coach at LSU, who's the new coach at Florida, who's the new coach at Virginia Tech, who's the new coach at Arkansas, does the FSU job come open? Who takes the job at Auburn? I think a lot of these decisions will then create pockets of opening where, okay, if it's not at the school that's filling the job, well, there's a vacancy, there's a vacuum created from where that guy left that will also make it very interesting, potentially with some players late.
So last thing, Georgia currently sits at number 2 in the 247 composite 2026 recruiting rankings. We've seen them go as high as 1, but I mean, at this point, number 1, do they have the chance to get to 1? Does anybody have the chance to surpass Georgia, knocking them down? And should people even really care?
Well, I think what's interesting, you see Ohio State, which is a major player at the table with a lot of chips, and they've went about flipping guys left and right over the last month or so. They flipped Legend Bay. You remember that name? Legend Bay just flipped from, I believe, Tennessee to Ohio State, and he had a Georgia offer. You see them target like Wake Forest commitments, Duke commitments, other schools like that, where they're deciding, okay, this guy's playing a lot better than we had him evaluated as a senior. Let's go after him, because it's harder and harder to get a lot of those top guys. Like Ohio State didn't have a juggernaut heavyweight class filled with like 4 or 5 5-stars this year because it's so very hard to do. I think Alabama is a school that's right there knocking on Georgia's door a little bit, but they don't have a lot of work left to do either. I think USC is going to stay number 1 simply because they have 2 or 3 more commitments.
5 more.
Yeah, commitments than Georgia. And you can't see Georgia making up that gap, even with a big, huge flip out of the blue or 2.
All right, so that is the questions left for the 2026 cycle. Of course, we're going to have more signing day related things as we get closer and closer. I can't even believe that it's this close
3
at
weeks.
this point. That's insane. So we'll have more coverage coming your way for Countdown to Signing Day.